Hello, we are here today to review Four Gardens. I believe it's the latest from Arcane Wonders.
It sure is.
So, as far as stats,
Before we get started, though,
okay, fine. Hit the subscribe button. Join along so you can find out what the stats are. Because he isn't going to give them to us until you hit that button.
That's right. So, Arcane Wonders, as Randy said, this game was at least published in 2020. I don't know if it's available to buy until this year. Board Game Geek rating is 7.7. Designer is Michael Dolezal. Arts by Rod Chance, I believe is how you pronounce it. Published again by Arcane Wonders. MSRP $39.99.
Okay. So this is a very simplistic game of building a panorama.
Or multiple panoramas.
Panorama.
Maybe.
All right. And trying to raise yourself on various tracks that they call the God tracks that are based upon the symbols that you have on your panorama cards. So as far as the quality of the components here, the cards, they're decent. There's no texture to them, but they're not bad cards. Right. They show pretty good texture, or pretty good thickness. The cardboard's really chintzy as far as the cardboard's not great. Mm-hmm. But this pagoda is really the eye catcher, and it constructed very easily. I was very impressed. After putting together Merchant's Cove, it was a night and day difference. This thing assembled easily, no problems whatsoever.
And it still looks cool.
And it looks cool, and it took like 2 minutes to put it together.
Not that long.
Yeah, it was super easy. So this is the way you make something that you have to construct, guys.
Or construct it for us.
Yeah, go ahead and build it for us, put it in some kind of a better quality than cardboard, or if you're going to do it cardboard, do this.
Right.
Because this is going to hold up and it looks very nice on the table. So it does have resource tokens. They're shaped. They're pretty basic shapes. Yeah. Wood, water, stone, and grass.
All I critique of that is the wood is dark brown in here, but it's red on the pagoda. Not that big of a deal.
It's still brown. It's a reddish brown, but it's brown still. Just a dark brown wood. The player colors are kind of uninteresting. White, black, and gray, and yellow for whatever reason. Yellow's the best of the bunch, and I hate yellow, so that's saying something.
That's saying something.
So overall, I think this is probably a 7.5 is the way I would view it as far as the quality.
I think I was going to go more like a 7. I wasn't too impressed with anything. I mean, even though the pagoda is more of the theme aspect of it, but the quality of the cardboard of the pagoda, it's all right.
Well, I mean, it constructed it well.
Right. So, I'm a 7.
All right. So, moving on to theme. This is, as far as, I guess, let's read what the theme is.
What does it say, Randy?
Long ago, in a beautiful eastern kingdom, a queen and her people pleased their gods by building a mystical pagoda. The pagoda housed the 4 gods and towered strong over the magnificent kingdom. I feel like it's a bedtime story. As time passed, the queen fell ill, and she summoned her people to compete for her crown. The crown would be passed on to the person who could build the most pristine garden around the pagoda. The heir would be chosen by the 4 gods themselves.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's definitely an Asian motif. It doesn't specify if it's Chinese, Japanese, whatever, but I'm not sure where the pagodas are most commonly present.
I think it's all over Asia.
Yeah, I thought so. But it's definitely an Asian motif.
Yep.
But it's very pretty. I mean, as far as the pagoda goes, the wood pieces are kind of meh. Mm-hmm. The panoramas art's pretty
gorgeous. I think the artwork on the cards is fantastic.
Yeah, it's cartoonish almost, but it's still pretty.
I think it kind of gives me a semblance of like the Japanese watercolor paintings is what it feels like. So.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Very pretty.
So thematically, there's not a lot to the game, but as far as the theme, I mean, it doesn't really carry through as far as
it doesn't have a story.
Well, it did have a story.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying when you're playing the game, it doesn't have a story to the game, but the artwork and the pagoda really just it does give you. I liked it. It kind of was relaxing in a sense on just how pretty the artwork was and how simplistic the game itself was. So thematically, I thought it did pretty good.
Yeah, I'm probably at an 8 on it.
I think 8's a good score for it.
Yeah. So moving on to the rule book. The rule book is super simple. It's only, it's 4 pages, but it's really the first one's just what's in the box, and the second one's just setup. So the gameplay is actually one page with a little bit spilling onto the back. So it's really that's it. It's
that's all really needed.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty easy.
It conveys what you need very easily. There's no cheat sheets for it. That would be my only complaint. Is it'd be nice to have like a turn sequence, the action card to tell you what you could do.
Yeah, I guess
so you can pass it out to new players, because otherwise you've got to basically just read it.
I think it's so easy to teach.
Yeah,
I don't know. In this case, I don't know if a cheat sheet would help or not.
Yeah, I still think it should have a player card to tell you what your actions are to choose from. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't require it, but it'd be a nice to have, certainly. But yeah, I think overall the rule book, I'll give it an 8. I mean, it's pretty good.
Okay.
So moving on to gameplay. So the gameplay is super simple. You're going to get a hand of these pagoda cards, these panorama cards.
Right.
And there's 5. You'll get a hand of 5, and there are various suits basically. There's the orange, which has 3. The blue has up to 5. The smallest one, I think, is red, which goes 2. I believe
orange is 3 and teal is 4.
Teal is 4, yeah. So you're going to have the various actions you can take. There's 4 different actions. One is you can play one of these panorama cards face up into your play area, which will give you the required resources to complete the panorama card.
It doesn't give you the resources. It tells you what the requirements
are. It tells you what the requirements are.
Yeah.
You have a little stash. This is your planning. I forget what they call it. The planning
doohickey.
Doohickey. Yeah, well, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Planning tile
or doohickey.
You're going to then have up to 4 resources you can hold, and you're going to get them based upon the pagoda. So whenever you put the other things you can do with these cards, you can discard them to take the actions at the top. One of the actions at the top. One of them is to allow you to get resources, but the way you get them is whatever level that shows in black on there, you're going to rotate on the board. So
either direction you want.
Either direction. This one shows the bottom one is being rotated, so I will return this.
It's that level and everything above it.
And you get then the arrow tells you what direction you get resources, and that's very important because you can only take what you have open in your planning tile. So if in this case it's showing me 3 water and 3 stone, so I would have to take the 3 water first because I'm going top down.
Top down.
And
that only gives you one
then
spot
I get
open.
One spot, so I get 1 stone. The rest of the stone is wasted because I can't store it. So the other action is a cart action. This is how you get resources out of your planning tile onto your cards. So if I had played that card to play, I could play this card because you get 3 actions out of the 4, but you can do any combination of them. So let's say I had, that's not a great one because it doesn't, no water on any of these tiles. Here's some water ones.
There's some.
There's a water and stone. Okay. And you can only have 3 in play that are active at a time. So I'm going to have these out. So I am going to play one as a cart, and I'm going to put the water, and a stone on there. And this water is now wasted, or I can leave it in my stash and taking up a space. When I refill this, it won't be able to fill. So whenever you complete one of these cards by filling all the resources on it, you will remove the resources and you'll flip the card over and you will get the color icon on the card to move up the God chart. Plus any other ones in that same panorama that you've already got in play, you will trigger again to move up. So you can move up multiple times, especially on the blue one where you can trigger it, the first time 1, second time 2.
Yeah, I did it on the teal one. Yeah. And I was able to complete a whole panorama on that. And basically I got to do 1 card activated 4 times because I completed the other 3.
The other thing you get when you complete a panorama is you get one of these bonus tokens. They have 3 different varieties. And there's a bonus spot to add to your planning tile.
You only get 1 of each, if any of them.
You cannot have more than 1 of any of them. There's victory points, which start at 4 and they go down. And then you have wilds, where you can take whatever the number of on the tile is, that many resources of your choice, and go ahead and play them onto your cards. So you could potentially chain additional cards, which is what I did to catch up in the game because you were way ahead and I caught up. So that let me complete 2 other cards that same turn. So those are the actions.
Well, there's one other
there's
action.
one
There's
other
the
action.
wild
There's
action
a
itself.
wild action itself where you can take one tile of your choice and put it onto a card directly. If you can't put it onto our card, you have the option to put it in your planning tile, but it would be really dumb.
That would be silly.
Yeah. So basically, that's to finish one that you're one shy on most of the time. But that's basically all there is in the gameplay. You play until you've completed a certain number of cards, depending on player
count. For 2, it was 10.
Yes, for 2 it was 10. It goes down with more players, and whoever has the most score based on the scoring chart wins, plus any victory point tiles. Now, one thing that is kind of a take that element in the game is if you max out your chart. If you score again on that same chart, everybody behind you moves down a spot.
So they lose a point.
Yeah, they lose points. So you can kick people out of the top spot by.
And the worst part is if you kick them off the board, they're gone forever.
Yes,
it does not come back.
Yes, if you bump somebody completely off the chart, they will not get to be able to score on that chart again. So
that's brutal.
That could be that could be brutal. But I mean, it's a very relaxing game.
It is.
It's laid back. It's a nice, fun game if you want to have a social conversation while you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not real cutthroat other than that scoring mechanism. You know,
it's quick.
It is quick.
So there's not a whole lot of room for AP. So if you're worried about that, or if your group has AP issues, it's not a big concern with this game.
Mm-hmm.
So, or analysis paralysis.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you think overall?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty solid game for a light puzzle game. There's not a whole lot to it, so I think I'd give it an 8.
I think I'm right below that. I'm at a 7.5 on it. I mean, it was just, you know, I think that it's fun. I just think that it's a little light on the scoring options. But then again, you know, it's a light game.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I don't prefer light games. But I think it's a lot of fun, and you know, it's easy to get to the table, easy to explain to people. It's a good introductory game.
And that's the reason why I gave it an 8, because it's got table presence, it's easy to teach, it's easy to learn, and I think people would like it. So.
Yeah, and give them kudos on the storage system on the box.
Yeah, the insert is very nice.
Yeah, it will actually. You don't have to disassemble the pieces. You do have to take the
you
tower
take the levels
apart,
but you don't have to take the cardboard apart.
These houses will store in there. So that's really awesome that they did that, and the inserts come out. So.
Which just means it's going to last that much longer if you're not having to tear it apart and put it back together.
So, I mean, you could use, I think, the middle insert actually you could use, instead of us using these bowls, you could actually use it as storage for those while you're playing. So, I thought it was a pretty clever insert. So, yeah, I think this is a well-made game.
So, I think if I'd add anything, if you plan on playing this a lot, you might have to sleeve the cards.
Yeah. So. I'm not sure if they designed it such that you can put sleeves in there.
I think so. It looks like there's plenty of space, but either way, I think that if it's something you want to play a lot, I think you'll have to sleeve the cards just to protect them.
I'm not sure that's tarot sized, or that looks smaller than tarot.
Slightly smaller,
like a euro,
like
tarot.
large euro or something.
Yeah, but that is 4 Gardens. That's hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you'll come back. Again, hit that subscribe button. Don't want to miss out on a moment of our reviews.
Where was it? I know you were pointing at it, but where?
It's over here-ish.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's a big red button, but
somewhere around.
Towards the end of our reviews, one will pop up on the screen. That's more convenient. You can just hit that big circle that has our logo on it.
Right there.
Yep. It will be right here.
Yep.
It's probably right here now. I'm probably covering me up. So, all right. Until next time. Bye.